It's Sunday. Quick check-in on my weight. I've had the best week that I've had, and I don't know how long. I'm not gonna say 10 years and nothing like that, but definitely this year. I've been saying all along that my number one priority when I finished the budget was to get back on it with my fitness. I'm turning 49 in 2.5 months. Well, I can't even say 2.5 months. Today is May 18th. So exactly 2 months and 7 days, I'm turning 49. I've said several times on my channel in the past, I've had a fear of my 50s since my 20s. My father died at 51. My stepfather died at 56 of a heart attack. Neither one took the best care of their health. But that's been on my mind since the early 2000s. My father died August 29th, 2002, and my stepfather died October 29th, 2003. They died a year and 2 months apart, and neither one made 60. Um, and I've said for years, I want to blow through my 50s. I want to blow through my 60s. I want to blow through my 70s. I don't want to spend the night in the hospital. To this day, I've never spent the night in the hospital. I have never had surgery. I'm not on any medication, and I'm not looking to go on any. Still got all my teeth. Still got a good hairline, although my barber does touch it up with some enhancements in this area, but haven't gone bald. But all jokes aside, I've been scared of my 50s for decades, and they are approaching. And I've said several times, if I stay 280, 290, I'll die in probably my 70s or 80s. When I used to be 340, I said I'll probably die in my 50s or 60s. For the last 2 years, I've been settling in between like 280 and 290, probably 90% of the time. I've gotten up over 300. Last November, I got down to 265. I haven't been 250 since May 2 years ago when I was training for the last time I tried to run a marathon. And so, this isn't about just aesthetics for me. That's part of it. Yeah, I would love to look like 50 Cent in the Get Rich or Die Trying days, but my number one thing is just my health. I have a little girl. I have a 7-year-old. She's about to be 8. And I want to walk her down the aisle at her wedding. I want to be there for her college graduation. I want to be pacing in the waiting room when she's giving birth and becoming a mother 20-something years from now, 25 at least. She's 7. At least wanted to wait until she's 30. But I want to be around for that. I work my ass off, and I look at retirement as my reward, and I want to be there financially, but I want to be there health-wise. I don't want to be broken down. My wife is on the city council in the city we live in, at least for another month. She did not run for re-election, but I remember when she first joined, there was a police. There's a police state. We have a police department in our little city of 6,000 people. And I still remember right when she started, the police chief of the police department had a retirement party on like Friday. He had worked like 40 something years, and he died like a week later. He didn't even have his last day. And I've said over and over, all of these 50, 60, 70, 80-hour weeks I put in, if I drop dead before I retire, this was not worth it. So, I have a lot of motivation to keep my health in a great place. And, I had a great week, but it's about consistency. I do know what my weight is. Let me show you what it is. It's one of the bigger weight losses I've had in a week. So to level set, I did not do my weekly weigh-in last week, but last week, Friday, May 9th, that was the day we loaded the budget. My weight was 286.4. So this is a photo. This is from a week ago because I started to do my weekly weigh-in and I never got around to it last week. But it was 286.4. I said that on one of my videos last week. So let's weigh into what I did a 4-mile run this morning outdoors. And I weighed myself yesterday. So I am down 9 pounds in a week. Don't mind the 2.7 because I did step on the scale on Tuesday, was it? Wednesday morning, I stepped on the scale. Um, and so I came down another 3 pounds from Wednesday to Saturday. Body fat is obscenely high. Um, but it's a good start. Um, down 9 pounds in a week. So, I'm not like elated and thrilled, and it's not because I'm disappointed in any way, shape, or form. I was actually shocked at how much weight I lost. Um, More so just because I've been in this holding pattern where, I keep floating between 280 and 290, and then every time I get over 290, I hit the panic button, and for like 2 or 3 weeks, a month, I'll shed, a bunch of weight, and then I get comfortable and I'm back to 280s again. And so, it's nothing whatsoever about the results. Losing 9 pounds is amazing. I mentioned a couple weeks ago how I'm watching this show um, on YouTube called the I Can Challenge with this guy, D Herbs. He has one of my favorite comedians, um, Ryan Davis, on there. And Ryan Davis lost 40 pounds in 2 months. And he's having results like this like every week because he's 100% buy-in. The most important thing about it, everybody wants to talk working out. He's eating nothing but a raw vegan diet and drinking nothing but water. And he's working out twice a day. 80% of what he's doing is his diet. He's even said, because he's been traveling, I'm not trying to throw no shade on, he said he's been inconsistent with the working out because he'll be like, okay, I got to go to Kansas City for 3 days. Okay, he went to Charlotte, he went to Atlanta, he went to San Diego, and he'll be like there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And he's like, he's been inconsistent, but the weight keeps dropping off. And why? Because his trainer says that I don't even ask him. I know he will not cheat on his diet no matter what. Even when he goes away and he's not working out, the weight is falling off. Me, I've had nothing but water since last week, Friday. Nothing. I've really cut out the processed food. The only processed stuff I've had in the last week, I've had those metric bars, the apple pie ones, on 3 occasions. I had some yesterday, as a matter of fact, because I was at my daughter's dance recital all day, and I don't have a refrigerator, a microwave, and I don't want to go out and buy stuff. So, I took that with me and had those as my. But outside of that, it's been no processed foods, nothing but water. I haven't had a single poppy soda, and I had gotten addicted to that stuff. I was drinking 6 to 10 cans a day. And I'll sit there and say they're 25 calories, but I've had nothing but water. I don't know how long I can keep this up. I'm fine with it. I keep just playing mental games with myself and saying, look, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to drink nothing but water for the rest of my life. But what I will say is I'm going to just do it today. And that's all I keep saying every day. And I did 2 40-hour fasts this week. Let's not leave that out. I had no food whatsoever on Monday, and I had no food whatsoever on Friday. So that's gonna, when I go from eating pretty regularly, I don't think I fasted. I was still doing 24-hour fasts, but I think the previous 2 weeks I hadn't done any. And I did 2 40-hour fasts, and I'm gonna do 2 more this week. It takes a lot of discipline. I get very depleted. I would not be doing this if I was still working 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. because it's very tiring working those hours and then commuting and then those sorts of things. So, I've been calling it a day at like 6, 7. I did 5 of those calisthenic routine workouts where I did it last week, Saturday, Sunday. I did it Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So I did it 5 times in like 8, 9, and 7 days. Yeah, the only days I didn't was Monday when I did the fast. And I did it Friday. Although I broke it up, Friday I did 5 sets at work. I was doing 1 every hour versus just doing it, all back to back with my 2-minute rest. But I did it at 10, 11, 12, 1, and 2 in the office. Each set was taking like 3 or 4 minutes, and I did all 5. But yeah, I did 5 calisthenic workouts. I ran 3 times. I ran this morning 4 miles, although that's obviously after my weigh-in, but I had a flawless week, and it's still encouraging to know that if I hit the button and I go and I show the discipline, my body still responds. The older I get, the more I get worried about that not happening, but my body still responds. Um, this has been hella encouraging because I thought, making my goal by my birthday was out of reach, but I just lost 9 pounds in a week. That's not going to be repeated every week. But if I can get in a groove of 2 to 3 pounds a week consistently for the next 2 months and 7 days, losing 16 pounds is not, or 17, 18 pounds is not insurmountable. 277.8, getting to 259.9 is not out of reach. So, that being said, it's on me. When I was 286 a week ago, I was like, there's no way, but I just said, you know what? I just want to start making progress. And I'm like, if I get to 269 and I lose 17, 18 pounds in the 2.5 months, I'll be elated with that. I didn't know this weight would fall off like that. It's encouraging me. And like I said, I know when I go from a standstill, I go 0 to 100 real quick, the weight falls off, but it does not, it's not going to just be 8, 9 pounds every week. Like, I know that. But if I can consistently get into a groove of like 2 to 3 pounds a week, that would be ideal. And that puts me in striking distance with essentially, 10 weeks, 2 months, a 31-day month, a 30-day month, and then that extra week. Basically 10 weeks from yesterday, or 10 weeks from Friday that just passed is my birthday. And if I do 2 to 3 pounds and leave in some room for some weeks where maybe things don't go great, because my body's gonna fight me on it, I can get there. So, encouraged. Really needed a week like this, just considering I was very deflated when I got back up to 286, because whatever it was, like mid-April, I had gotten down to 276. I want to get under 275 by next week. So I'm going to push for it. I'm going to do my 40-hour fast Monday. I'm going to do one Thursday, and I'm going to weigh in Friday morning. But really, really needed a nice shot in the arm like that. This was much needed. So I know I'm not sounding excited, but like I said, it's more the consistency than the results. Like, I don't want to be 281 next week. So good week. We'll take it. Checking in Friday. I'm going to do my I did 4 miles this morning. I'm going to do my calisthenics circuit today. So staying after it. But a good week in the bank for Reed Fitness on a Sunday. Signing off.